TLDR, it's not worth it. No, I'm totally kidding, but I'll talk more about other details later. Hi, my name is Parker Franklin. If you're new here, I am a young professional living in New York City, and I wanted to share a little bit about my experience working in the music and entertainment space and exactly what led me to eventually pivot into tech. I know that when I was in undergrad, I felt a bit lost about exactly what I wanted to do with my academics and like my background, where it was leading me. So I thought that this might be some helpful information for anyone that's debating moving to New York and working in the music and entertainment space. So I suppose to get started, I graduated from Florida State University in the fall of 2023. I actually obtained a dual degree. So I originally was studying commercial music, which is basically music production, songwriting, music industry kind of degree. And I also obtained a degree in management information systems, which is basically a business analytics type degree, I suppose. And regarding my career, I felt pretty lost. I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do. I was originally only studying music, but come my junior year, I realized I did not know what I wanted to do. So I decided to tack on another degree just to kind of add some stability. And I realized I could actually combine the two. You know, there's analytics, there's music, entertainment. You know, you use analytics at entertainment companies, so why not do that? I started looking into exactly what avenues I could take with that. I was really fortunate to obtain an internship opportunity with Universal Music Group as a part of their IT department in the summer of 2023. And for that internship, I had to move to New York City. And when I tell you that was such an incredible experience, I could not emphasize that enough. I highly recommend the Universal Music Group internship program. It taught me so much about the city, about the industry, and it initially really solidified to me what I wanted to get myself into. So coming back from New York City, based on that internship experience, I was going through it because I just wanted to be back in New York so quick. I loved the experience. I loved the people that I met, and I knew that I had to try as hard as I could to come back here. So I was sitting in Tallahassee, Florida for a little bit. I had to finish up my degree, so I was in school for another couple of months. I then really entered the full-time job application cycle, which took me a while. It took me roughly 4 to 5 months to get a full-time offer, and I was actually really lucky that I was able to obtain an offer with Universal Music Group as a part of their content protection department. Not gonna lie, I was not really planning to go into legal or content protection, but you know, hey, a job's a job, and I was really excited about it. I was really excited to be entering the space again. I was so excited to be moving back to New York City. I actually found out that I got the job while me and my boyfriend were up in New York City for one of his job interviews. So it was definitely a full circle moment being in Central Park and signing the offer letter knowing that I was going to be moving back in just a couple weeks. I then had to figure out housing really quickly. Luckily, we had a family friend in New Jersey just outside the city that I was able to stay with for a couple of weeks, but then I had to really scour the internet, Reddit, Facebook to find some roommates. Eventually found some guys and we moved into an apartment in Bushwick, and I officially started my life full-time in New York City. Now, this all sounds great, right? This all sounds amazing. Technically, it was everything I could have wanted and more, except I will say, when entering the music and entertainment space, one thing that is not spoken about enough, I don't think, is the salary potential when entering these spaces. Now, when I started at Universal Music Group, I was making roughly $40K a year, but after taxes in New York City, that's about $24 to $26K a year. So basically every month I was seeing about $2,000 hit my bank account. And when finding housing in New York City, I thought I had gotten a steal. I got a bedroom for $12.50 a month. It was in Bushwick, Brooklyn, which is a pretty hip spot now. So I was really excited to be in that space. But then after utilities and everything, that was another couple hundred a month. At the end of the day, looking at my statements, I only had $600 to $800 $100 left per month to spend on anything I wanted, whether that be food or clothes, etc. And New York's known for being very expensive, so that definitely forced me to learn how to become really resourceful and to really assess what truly makes me happy to spend my money on. Now, I am really grateful that I learned so much throughout that experience. I mean, now I'm very well educated on finances and investing and saving, and I feel like now I'm really positioned to have a really successful financial life. However, at the time, it was really brutal. Especially being in the city in your early 20s. I was 23 at the time. I wanted to be going out with my friends. I wanted to be trying all these restaurants, going and grabbing these fancy cocktails, seeing all these shows, just like I did when I interned. But I couldn't do that because if I wanted to make sure I wasn't going into credit card debt, I really had to lock in. I really had to find ways to be resourceful. As much as I loved working in music, I mean, I could not emphasize enough how great my team was. I really enjoyed my job. I thought it was a fun job. I basically was one of the people that goes on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and takes down any content that shouldn't be there or that's been pre-released that should not be out into the public yet. And it was really fun doing that. I felt like I was constantly scouring the internet and finding some really interesting things. After a couple of months, I would say roughly 6 months, I looked at my life as a whole and I said, okay, you know what? I'm living in the city I love. I am working in the industry that I love. However, I just financially cannot support my interests outside of work. I feel stressed about money all the time. And I really had to look myself in the eye and say, okay, what do I want to prioritize right now? Do I want to prioritize being in the industry I love and feeling like I'm cool because I got a cool company name on my resume? Or do I want to take a step back and make sure that my life as a whole looks how I want it to? And that was a really hard decision for me to come to because I'd worked so hard, especially to get back into music. I mean, music is my passion outside of my work. Music is something that I've been contributing to ever since I was little, and it felt like I was walking away from that. But once I assessed the entire situation, I said, you know what, this isn't for me right now, and that's okay, and we can reassess later on. Life is so long when you think about it. Of course, life is also short, but in the grand scheme of things, the music industry is not going anywhere. Hey, you never know, maybe the perfect opportunity will arise one day down the line. And I actually happened to stumble across another job opportunity working in a very similar manner. It was more focused in IP protection and licensing, and this was at Peanuts Worldwide. I feel like this was a really lucky position for me to stumble upon, as it built so well upon the foundations that I obtained at Universal Music Group. Peanuts Worldwide, if you didn't realize, is basically Snoopy and Charlie Brown. So that was a really, really sweet brand and entertainment IP to work for, and I really, really loved stepping into that space. And it felt so fulfilling in a different way because I still felt like I was contributing to entertainment. I was contributing to something that really puts a smile on people's faces, and that filled me with so much fulfillment and joy. And I mean, my house, you can't see right here, but it's basically entirely Snoopy themed. So all that to say, it definitely left an impact on me. I realized while I was at Peanuts that I felt like I was at this crossroads. I mean, I was 24, gonna turn 25. And then while I was at Peanuts for a couple of months, I was kind of assessing my overall situation once again. And I was trying to figure out the right next steps because I care a lot about ensuring that I am moving upwards, that I am increasing my skill set. And based on my experiences working in copyright and IP protection at Universal and at Peanuts, I felt like law school was a really natural next step for me. I did a ton of research. I looked into it a lot, and I really had a lot of deep thinking, lots of deep conversations. And after a couple of months, I realized, you know what? I don't think I'm meant to be an attorney, and I don't think I'm meant to go to law school. And that was kind of hard for me to realize too, because I had been working in the legal department of music and entertainment companies for the past almost 2 years. I was just so conflicted about what I wanted to do next. I felt a little bit siloed into legal, not gonna lie. It's kind of a niche thing. You know how many people are going on TikTok and Instagram and taking down leaks and taking down infringements? That's just not a super common field to work in. So I kind of had this reflective period period where I decided, you know what, I feel like I abandoned a part of myself when I jumped into this. And that part of myself is the analytics and the tech side of things. I really loved studying that in college. I mean, that's why I went for management information systems. I loved working with SQL and databases and Python, and I know that I'm really good at that too. That was something that I really excelled in college, and that was my original goal in the first place, was to work in analytics in music and entertainment. I then took a look at my overall situation and said, okay, how can I incorporate some of these skill sets into my current workflows? So at my previous role, I was able to build some dashboards that analyzed our infringements across the globe and was able to track how much revenue recovery was being generated from these IP infringement removals. And I really loved that. I felt like that was a step in the right direction. And then I actually came across a role at a tech company that focused more on revenue operations, how we can analyze overall financial metrics to drive business growth. And I felt like that was super up my alley. I love talking about finances. I love talking about money. I felt like it was the perfect gateway for me to step back into the world of analytics. And lucky for me, the role worked out, and now I am working in tech. I love it. I love it so much. And for me, it has actually been so much more fulfilling because ever since I stepped into tech, I have since then been able to put more effort into my creative pursuits outside of work. And I've also been able to fund these opportunities as well so much better. So I feel so grateful that I am now in this space where I'm able to enjoy the tech side of things and the entertainment side of things. I mean, that's why I'm so grateful to have gotten this camera. I love creating content. I love singing. I love doing music, all these things. And I truly feel like it's because I leaned into what I'm good at rather than an industry that I just wanted to be in, if that makes sense. All that to say, I really did enjoy working in music and entertainment. I unfortunately do have friends that were also in that space that did not have as positive of an experience, but it's very much subjective. It's very much based on your team. It's very much based on the type of work that you're doing. I know that I had a great experience and I would recommend, but everyone has their own 2 cents on that. So all that to say, I am really grateful for where I've been able to end up, and I wouldn't be here if I hadn't taken that leap of faith and if I hadn't decided that I was going to pursue music and pursue the entertainment industry. I mean, I think it would be kind of silly to say that that was a waste of my time, because at the end of the day, it taught me so much information that I have continued to add to my toolbox, and I'm going to continue adding that to my knowledge base to influence the decisions that I make in the future. I couldn't recommend it enough. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about what it's like working in music and entertainment. Feel free if you have any questions about getting into tech or about analytical work. I would really love to talk about that a bit more. Starting in August, I'm officially beginning my master's at Georgia Tech remotely from New York City, and I'm really excited about doing that. I'm going to keep building upon these skill sets that I have. I'm also just really happy right now because I just feel like I'm finally really leaning into some areas that I felt a pull towards for so long, and I wouldn't be here if I hadn't taken the plunge in the first place. So all that to say, thank you so much for listening to my story. Please once again reach out if you want any advice or any tips about moving to New York City. I'm definitely going to make more videos talking about my moving experience more in depth, exactly what I think it takes to live in the city, both financially and personally, and I can't wait to share more of my life with you all. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.